everybody. It's the Spindle podcast with Marc and John.
Welcome to The Spindle, a podcast about 7-inch records. I'm Marc.
I'm John.
And in each episode, we talk about one 7-inch record, hopefully give you some insight into it that you haven't heard before. We both got into music in the 80s and 90s when 7 inches were super important, especially on independent labels. So that's the time period we mostly draw from, but we sometimes pick some stuff earlier or later than that too. Either way, we try to keep it short and to the point, just like 7 inches do. So on this episode, we are talking about Echo and the Bunnymen's Killing Moon, backed with Do It Clean, released in the UK on January 20th, 1984 on Korova Records. It got all the way to number 9 on the UK singles chart. It was the lead single off the album that came out later that year, Ocean Rain.
Under the blue moon I saw you, so soon you'll take me up in your arms, too late to beg you. We'll cancel it though, I know it must be killing time, unwillingly mine. Fate up against your will.
A-side recorded at Crescent Studio in Bath, Somerset, with producer David Lord. Apparently, well, we can talk about this more later, but apparently Ian McCulloch didn't like the drum sound and had a cold, so he said he wouldn't sing there. So they had to go back to another studio in Liverpool and finish it with his vocals. It was written by all 4 members of the band. The B-side, weirdly, on this one, and I'm not sure if it was released in other versions, but the B-side is a song taken from their first album, Crocodiles, which weirdly wasn't on.
Is it a live version, or?
I think it's just taken straight from those sessions. I might be wrong about that, but
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
yeah. And for some reason, the UK LP of Crocodiles didn't have it because an executive thought that the song contained obscenities. but it ended up on the cassette version and the US LP.
Oh, so what was on the US? What was the B side of the US 7-inch on Sire?
That I meant to look that up.
Come on,
Let's see. We're gonna go over to Discogs Live.
We're Americans. We didn't buy anything on Korova. We bought it on Sire.
I don't think that it ever came in out as a 7-inch in the US. It was a 12.
Really?
There was a 12-inch. The 12-inch had Killing Moon All Night version, Killing Moon, and Do It Clean. So I'm not sure if there was ever a version
US 7-inch.
I don't see one listed on Discogs. That doesn't mean that there wasn't one.
No. That does mean that there wasn't.
Everything that says US here is a 12-inch. Okay. And yeah, from the random ones I've sampled through this whole thing, there was never a version that didn't have Do It Clean on the
That's cool.
backside. Even though there's a We Canada one, and even that has Do It Clean, which is strange. I mean, I guess part of it was the fact that Do It Clean hadn't been on the Crocodiles album, but it's like a 4-year earlier song and a much different version of the way they were doing things. But the lineups.
But what were we saying? We talked about A sides and B sides. They wanted to make sure. I mean, maybe UK is a little different, but putting the old B side on there so you aren't people aren't playing the old thing or playing the B-side.
That's a good point. That's actually a good way to do it because people aren't going to think that's the single that's supposed to be played, but at the same time it is an awesome song and it's a good single, like it's one of their best. It ended up on their greatest hits record or whatever. So the band at this point was Ian McCulloch on vocals, Will Sarge on guitar, Les Pattison on bass, and Pete, I guess it's DeFreitas. DeFreitas on drums, yeah. And on the version of Killing Moon, they had a guy named Adam Peters that played the cello and piano, and the producer David Lord had a synth that he played. So that's the basic stuff about it. I guess that as we said before, this song ended up on Ocean Rain, which probably their most well-known popular album, and this is their most well-known popular song, but they recorded and wrote it like before Ocean Rain happened, because Ocean Rain, they actually had like a 35-piece orchestra on all the other songs.
Forever Changes or whatever.
Yeah, but this one doesn't have that, although it has that feeling because they use the synths to sound like strings, and they've got a guy playing strings and stuff.
Well, technically, this is the greatest song anybody ever wrote, recorded, or sang, right? Is this
right? Exactly.
I have to understand from Ian McCulloch. This is it.
Yeah, exactly. I should
probably should end the whole series after this.
Exactly. They're like, I found like 5 different instances of him saying that, but here's my favorite one. I said a lot of times that it's the greatest song ever written, and the reason it is it's more than a song. It's way beyond being a song. It's about everything. It's not about football or fucking celery, but it's about most other things.
Why would you fuck celery? That's what I want to know. Why would you fuck celery?
I think somebody told him it was about celery and he got pissed off.
I bet he's saying basically there are 3 great things in this world: football, fucking celery, and the killing moon.
Yeah, that's the you can if you put if you put all those in a circle, that's the entirety of the earth, entirety of the world, right? Yeah.
All of it.
So so one strange thing that I did not know when I was reading about this, which I'm not smart enough musically to kind of imagine this, but apparently he was playing around with playing Space Oddity backwards, the chords of Space Oddity backwards.
Oh, sure.
And that's how he got the chords for this, which, I mean, I guess if I actually took the record and played it backwards, you might be able to tell that, although I'm sure
I don't think it's like that. It's just if the song is DJAF, he's playing it FAGD.
Right. So
nice try, buddy.
And apparently the chorus came to him, like he woke up one day and it was there, and he thinks it came to him from God or something.
Oh,
so, which is, and then he just wrote some spacey kind of stuff around it because he was big into space stuff. So the other really cool thing that I learned about is that that opening part before the song really starts, is just the guitar part, was just something that Sargent was playing around in the studio doing. And the producer recorded it, him not knowing. And later he came in, the producer's like, I'm going to put this at the beginning of the song. And I like, that's their most famous guitar part probably ever. And it wasn't really even meant for the song.
That's amazing. He's an amazing guitarist.
He really is.
Really great guitarist. Really great guitarist. So without ever being a guy who's going to rip out solos, his guitar arrangements are always spot on. He's really great on 12 strings or 6 strings, and just always very, I mean, tasteful is a shitty word, but like he's always got the right chord for the moment, the right sound for the moment,
Yeah, no, he's awesome, and I mean, the thing is, you and I both talked about
great band overall.
Yeah, right, and we have talked about both before on our own outside of this podcast that their first 3 records before this are all awesome.
Yeah,
and this was a decently big turn for them, although it still sounds like them. But putting the strings together and making this all dramatic, they were more sort of a charging post-punk band, although dark.
Well, like they had El Shankar on Porcupine. There's that a lot of that weird Indian violin. So it does kind of make sense that they would go into that next level of swooning strings and acoustic guitars. It works. This song in particular works great. I think like it definitely still, this could be on Porcupine or something like that. You could see that. It's maybe a little glossier than the first record, but it still fits while expanding their sound, just a bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of cool that they put Do It Clean on the other side. If at the time you hadn't heard them, it's good to, if this is the first thing you buy, it's good to see what they were doing up to them, because I mean, like I have our car has Sirius XM, and there's a new wave channel, and this is the only song that they have. Every once in a while they'll play Bring on the Dancing Horses or Lips Like Sugar, but this is the song that they, this is considered the Echo and the Bunnymen song, and it's a great song, but like it kind of represents them more melodramatic than they kind of had been up to then, and sure, I like their melodrama, and I feel like he's kind of winking behind the melodrama of this song anyway.
I don't know, man. That guy is like, he's like that all the time. Is he winking? It's impossible to tell. Like he really, throughout that, man, even today, he will say, I'm just the greatest.
Right.
Why are you questioning me? I'm the greatest singer of all time. I can't even imagine being in a band with him, being like, can you do another take? And he's like, how dare you speak to me about
right.
Who are you? Right. And so, plus the hair sticking up like that. It'd be hard to take him seriously at the same time. The fatal mix.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I mean, the places I've read about him talking about how great, he constantly talking about how great this song is and how great they were and everything. But part of it is like dumping on every other song in order to make it great too, which is kind of hilarious.
It's probably their biggest influence on the Stone Roses. is going around saying you're the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
With your first song, Oasis does the same thing.
Yeah.
Ugh. But they do. They're like, we're the greatest. Although Noel seems to have backed down on that a little bit. But when they first started, they were like, we're the greatest. We're the greatest ever. And I think they all get that from Ian McCulloch being so fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
It's also amusing given the tone of their music. This is why it's hard not to think maybe there's some sense of humor at work there, because they play this kind of dour, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean dour is maybe a bad term, but romantic. It's dark. It's swooning. It's gothic, but not goth. And then this guy comes out down in pints and being like, fuck you, we're the greatest fucking band you ever heard. The Killing Tide. You're like, it's so British. It's like every British band in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love reading interviews. Both him and Sargent are both such kind of like wise ass guys.
Oh yeah. You can imagine them having some epic arguments in the studio.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, if you look at I get the feeling, I mean, from what I've read about him talking about the lyrics here, there's not I don't quite get that there's a major point to what he's talking about. I think it's sort of like, I'm going to string together a bunch of stuff that sounds really melodramatic and sounds like, I'm in this epic romance kind of thing. But I don't know that if you read them like face value, they don't make your sky all hung with jewels. I don't even know.
It's a love song, you're the moon in the sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a classic. It's a little abstracted. But I think this is a thing that I always get on this hobby horse with, is there's a difference between goth and gothic, and so like drawing inspiration from gothic art and the feel of gothic art, meaning like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or like cathedrals and things, and the feel that you get there. There's a lot of early bands that plainly drew on that, and these guys are one of them, I would say. They try to get that dark and stormy night feel. It's Heathcliff kind of on the moors, and I love it. I'm not putting that down at all. I mean, I love it. It's great. And it's a great thing to bring to music. It was perfect sort of thing that came after punk, which was very mod. And so it makes sense to then, well, what if we take one step beyond that and go back to romantic, and that gives you gothic. But the way it became goth, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference there, like early Cure, early Susie the Banshees are plainly drawing on that feel, that romantic feel in art. Whereas goth, I don't know. It's like, it claims to be taking from that, but it seems like something completely different to me. Like Alien, Sex Fiend, and Specimen, and some of those bands that came along right away. And even now when people are like, oh, this is goth, like, is Bauhaus goth or gothic? It's not stupid. I love to make these dumb distinctions, but I mean, most of those bands don't like the term goth. They don't think they're goth. They think goth is a hairstyle or a clothing style, and whereas it's then become a genre of music. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it became sort of, to call somebody goth is to be more than like their gothic influenced music. They have to kind of be within a bunch of parameters, and they have to kind of look a certain way. It's become a kind of a costume almost,
right?
Both musically and actually literally with costumes.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, where every time somebody says The Cure is a goth band, I'm like, no, that's just not really what they were. I mean, there's so many of their songs that are not gothic, but there are a lot that are, and it's an influence on their music rather than like a thing they wanted to be.
Well, you're right. And that's what I'm saying is like, we do, gothic is a better term for it, and it's like the literary thing, like these lyrics they really struck me as being like gothic in feel. And I think there's a little literary quality to it. I think he's a bit of a book reader, and as opposed to just this swooning, dark love kind of thing that somebody else might have done. It really is just an abstract, you're a jewel in the sky, you're the moon, you're the sky, you're the stars, right? Like, I don't have them right in front of me, but it's got that kind of feel. It's giving you that feeling, and bigger than you, and so that seems different than what I see in a lot of goth music. It seems like a break there, but a lot of people will claim that as a continuum. And I'm here to defend those. I'm here to defend Bauhaus and Echo and the Bunnymen from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what both him and Robert Smith had going for them too was that they have these naturally kind of dark voices,
Yeah.
singing wise that aren't put-ons. I mean, you can tell this is just how their voices sound.
Right.
They're not like I'm going to sing this on a lower register to try to make it sound
Evil.
more
Yeah, right.
spooky
Dark.
or yeah. And I mean, I think their music would have worked if they had different voices, but I think people naturally think, oh, the way they sing means that they're like they want you to go hide under the covers or whatever, which wasn't necessarily the case.
No, right. It's a different kind. That's what I'm saying. Is like it's not supposed to be. It's not like a scary, spooky. It's hard to explain. It's like more of a awe. Like a awe kind of thing, like an awe at the sheer size of things. It's like, or the awe of the creation of life rather than, oh, I want to be frightening or I'm scared of the dark or the dark is spooky. It's more a sense of like you're tiny. The thing that's frightening is that you're so tiny in the face of creation that as humans, that's like romantic art. We are insignificant compared to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Say, as opposed to, I don't have good examples to give of current contemporary goth lyrics, but the tone of it is just a completely different thing. There's no awe there. It is mostly focused on, and it's not, I don't want to put it down too much, but it's just very narrowly focused where these seem more like drawing more on literary feelings and ideas as opposed to putting them in a particular box of like, these are goth ideas or these are that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, this might be a little bit of a leap, but I think part of the reason why these guys are so kind of funny and sarcastic in interviews and stuff is they see the absurdity of all of it too.
Right.
So, they're both in awe. There's both an awe of it and also like, well, what the fuck? Why are we taking everything so seriously if we have no power and control in this situation?
That's a great point. Right. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I have always just, I don't know how they got that feel. Like it's sort of a little like Joy Division. It's like, it's a little mysterious, because there's nothing they're drawing on. Ian McCulloch and Will Sargent were huge Fall fans. Ian McCulloch is actually buddies with Marc Smith and is mentioned in various times. He's
oh, wow.
I want to drop out, become a no man. Like said Ian with his blackout threats. And so Ian McCulloch and Julian Cope were close friends. And when the Fall would play Liverpool, they'd hang out with them and they would travel around and see them. So they're inspired a bit by that. And so like, there's a good example of an early Fall fan being inspired by the Fall to not sound anything like the fucking Fall. Like nothing. You would not, if I said to you, he was a massive Fall fan, you would have no clue. No, you know what I mean? And Will Sargent, I follow him on various social media. He still mentions Love in the Fall. But they don't sound anything. I mean, literally don't sound anything like the Fall at all. Maybe if you squint sort of like Live at the Witch Trials or something with the early stuff, but not really. It more just inspired them like, oh, I could do like even more than the Sex Pistols. I can say whatever I want. I can write whatever I want, that all the gates are open as Can would say, I don't have to. And so this is what came out of them. But it's kind of mysterious what goes on in the north of England with the children and their melodies, the dark melodies, and like it's like in the water or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, up into this point, to me, like the first three records before this one, and he's still great on this one. But I feel like Lewis Pattison, like the bass playing on a lot of that early stuff is just really what drives the band and really is what I mean. Do It Clean's got an amazing bass.
The rhythm section, the way they lock up is really unique. Like he doesn't use cymbals a lot, but you wouldn't call it tribal. It's not like early Susie and the Banshees are like boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, or Adam and the Ants doing the Burundi thing. It's just he's just not hitting the cymbals. Just playing using all the darker tones of the kit versus the brighter ones. And then he and the bassist they lock in like crazy, super syncopated a lot of times. So, which is another thing that makes them sound a little different than your typical kind of British band like that. Is a lot of those bands at the time were very focused on locking up between the kick and the bass, whereas these guys, although they're locked up, it definitely is more like between, like they aren't playing the same thing all the time. So that when they do, it like hits like a ton of bricks. It's like a big hook.
Right. Absolutely. I think I just called him Lewis Pattison, and that's the name of a guy that writes for The Wire. It's Les Pattison.
Yes, like as in Les Nessman.
Right. As in less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Short for Lester, perhaps.
Yeah. Now, one thing that, I mean, this is forever ago now too. This is just as long ago as anyway. One thing that got this song like a rebirth was in Donnie Darko. I don't know if you ever saw.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. And then he re-edited the movie for DVD, and he switched it out with an excess song, which he had wanted from the beginning but couldn't get the rights to, or whatever. Which
is wrong
I thought was a terrible choice. I think it was so much better
apart,
with it.
Right? He put in like "Never Tear Us Apart" instead of
exactly. Yep.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I know. There's a great. Let's see if I can find this great quote that Will had to say about it. Let's see. He's like, years after it was a hit, we got an email saying this bloke wanted to use the song in a film, Donnie Darko, which we didn't think would go anywhere, so he accepted a one-off £3,000 for it. Then when he did the director's cut, he replaced the Killing Men with Never Tear Us Apart by In Excess. Aren't some people knobheads? But I'm not 100% sure that it made the song any more popular. I mean, everybody already knew the song at that point. It's always considered their signature song, but still,
it didn't hurt.
It was a really cool use of it.
It actually worked great in the movie. Yeah, it's like, why would you change that? It hit so hard.
I know.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that got me into the movie right away for sure, and gave me a sense of what that movie was going to be about. It's going to be about people who listen to that kind of music at that time period. So.
And I knew I could relate right away because I'm a huge Echo and the Bunnymen fan.
Exactly. I felt like he was speaking directly to me. Yeah.
Me, the Echo and the Bunnymen fan.
Well, it's funny. I don't know. You know that movie's set where we live. So.
Oh, I forgot about. I mean, I haven't seen it in a million years, but yeah, right. I remember that. Yeah.
Because there's one point where he goes to talk to his dad, and his dad's watching the Washington Redskins play football, and Doug Williams is on the TV.
He lives in. Doesn't he live in the suburbs of Virginia? Right.
Yeah, like Fairfax.
Specific.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a digression. But but I mean, the also awesome thing about these guys, much like Robert Smith and the Cure, is that they've continued doing a lot of cool stuff. They've had kind of hiatus-y kind of periods, but I don't think they've ever like completely been done. And
no, they keep playing. I mean, what happened was the drummer, right, disappeared or died in a motorcycle accident, and that changed everything. They broke up for a while after that, I think, because they were pretty close. I don't know. And then they got back together. They've been touring. Yeah, they tour quite a bit. I don't think Les is involved anymore.
Oh, really?
I think that it's just Will and the singer, as he calls him sometimes.
Right. That makes sense. But they made. I've dipped into some of them. I mean, they made albums as recently as like 2014, 2018. And I've dipped into those, and they all sound pretty cool. I mean, I don't know that I'm ever going to like listen to them as much as I listened to the first 4 or 5 of their original ones, but there's still good music.
Did you like
on
that one, the Bring on the Dancing Horses one?
Yeah, the self-titled album. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It actually does sound like it comes right after Ocean Rain in its way, even though it was like 2 or 3 years or something after that, which back in those days was an eternity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember when it came, it was like 87. I remember people were like, they're back.
Yeah, it was fucked up. It's like, where'd they go?
It had only been 3 years, but know,
nowadays,
the first 3 came. Yeah, because the first 4 came out year after year after year. So
right.
Yeah. I saw them probably about 6 or 7 years ago with Violent Femmes. In kind of a retro tour, but I thought they were still pretty awesome. They played all the good stuff, and
that's a good formula.
Yeah, and then go ahead. Well, Will Sargent's got these 2 memoirs, and he's working on a third. I don't know if you've read any. Yeah,
I have read a bunch of his stuff.
Pretty interesting. So I mean, they're cool dudes. They've done a lot of good, interesting stuff, and this song probably keeps them from ever having to work jobs.
Well, I'm sure Britain. I mean, they sold pretty well in Britain. It's funny because I was talking with somebody about this, how there was a period in the 80s where being an underground person in the US, like early late 70s, early 80s, meant that you were into extremely popular British music, and nobody knew about it in the US. So it's like the Jam. I mean, it's like, oh yeah, they were underground. You know, underground's the wrong term, but like not popular here. Meanwhile, in the UK, they were by far the most popular band there for 2-3 years running. You know, everything they did went into number one. And Echo and the Bunnymen, a bit like that, very popular, you know, well known, well loved band over there. And here in the US, just not quite as well known. Although they did have a couple of peaks. I mean, I'm sure during it's funny that they went to ground and like that 83 to 87 period, because if they had toured the US much during that period, they probably would have gotten even huger. Like if they had not made a record there, if they'd made another record and kept going. Because they were starting to get bigger.
Right. And they did have in between that Ocean Rain and that self-titled, there was kind of a greatest hits, the songs to learn and sing thing.
Right.
Which, yeah, I mean, if they toured around that record,
right,
they definitely would have gotten.
It's pretty wall-to-wall record. There's pretty much all good songs. They're great. I mean, I have to admit, I'm glad you picked it because you picked this. I love them. I love them, especially those first four, and you know, Porcupine and Heaven Up Here. I think they're a fantastic band. I think if you're a musician and you're into being in a band, they're a great band to listen to. Different creative ways to arrange and approach playing pop music. You know, because it really sometimes they can sound very influenceless. Like I don't know how I mean, they're plainly drawing on. They are sort of like if the 60s psychedelic bands had kept being psychedelic and investigating that kind of thing through songwriting and 12-string guitars and, you know, that kind of Indian music or whatever, sort of like they kind of picked up and then kept going. So they're like a psychedelic band to me, psychedelic pop. Whereas, you know, I'm going to complain about it forever that everybody picked up acoustic guitars, started singing about themselves, you know, in 67 or 68. And it's like if Echo and the Bunnymen are like, no, we're from 66 and we're just going to keep going in their way, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And as we mentioned, I kind of vaguely mentioned before, I feel like this just might be in my head. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody about this, but I think in some ways this song branded them a little bit more dramatic and love songy than they really had been, and it works. It's great. I think if this is a song you hear by them and you like it, you'll like them. But if you hear it and you feel like it's a little over the top, the first few records before this are much more like hard charging kind of stuff. I mean, they still do drama. Oh, yeah. This isn't out of character for them, but I think some people might not realize how fucking awesome they were before.
Yeah, like the record. Cutter and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Failures so Terrace.
Good. Yep. And really, really coolly sequenced albums. Like they really knew how to put.
Yeah, great together. Albums. Yeah, right. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hope everybody enjoyed this discussion of Echo and the Bunnymen's "The Killing Moon," and and we will, I guess, see you next time on Spindle.
Bye-bye.
The Spindle is produced by John Howard and me, Mark Masters. I'm also the audio editor. Our theme song is by the great band Honey Radar. Our podcast is brought to you by Wastoids, audio and video from Hello Merch. Find more podcasts and videos at wastoids.com. And please leave a rating and a review of our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks.